worldview tonight. I'm so excited to see everybody tonight. Hello to all of our friends over there on Rumble. Hey, nice to see you guys, right? They're loading up. Nancy, Frosty, JJ. Hey, coming through. Hey, Lord Sterling. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my voice. Hold on. Much better. That's what I get for talking so much, I guess. Hello to all of our ex-viewers as well. How are you guys doing tonight? Make sure you say hello so we can say hello back to you. And hello to all of you over there on Pill. Sorry, everyone. Hello to White Wings and Frosty and JJ and more. Oh, you guys with the memes. Oh, I love those. I'm super excited to see everybody. Do me a favor. Make sure you guys hit those buttons, right? Hit those likes, those follows, those share, because we got a special guest tonight, the one and only Berney Flowers. Make sure you guys help support the show. We love your Rumble rants, your subscriptions, your cash apps, your tips and pills, and more. Thank you guys so much for all you do to help to promote the show and support the show as we bring you a variety of stuff here on the Headmaster's Homeroom. All right, guys, tonight it is Worldview. Tonight we're reflecting on the tragic loss of Charlie Kirk and the deep impact felt across the nation and around the world. From heartfelt reactions of everyday Americans to the response of the world. We're going to examine what this moment reveals about good and evil in our time. This is not only a time of mourning, it is a time of moral reckoning. A reckoning that forces us to ask, what kind of world are we building? And what values will define us moving forward? Together, we're going to confront this distortion of labels like far right, which in truth often simply represent normal values rooted in family, faith, and freedom. We face the uncomfortable reality of chaos, deception, and moral decay that's been allowed to grow unchecked. As we issue a call to rise up and say no more to the lies, no more to corruption, and no more to erosion of our shared humanity. Instead, we're going to choose a path of truth, ethics, and love for one another. The time for silence, everyone, is over. The moral reckoning is here, and it is ours to face with courage, conviction, and hope. With that being said, everyone, welcome my beautiful guest and dear friend, Berney Flowers.
Lady Hamilton, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, my friend? It's so nice. Always so nice to see you.
It's a pleasure. It's been too long. I've been on the road a little bit, traveling around, visiting relatives, taking care of things back down south. But, I'm glad to be back here with you.
Oh, I am so glad that you're here with me too. It's always great to have you here. You know that you're always welcome, but I know you're also super, super busy. So I am appreciative of your time. But we have a lot to talk about. I have so many bookmarks up. You've sent me a few things too, but we just faced, and I've done kind of basically two tributes to that. My Thursday show, everybody, was a nice, beautiful tribute. And then last night, didn't we have the most amazing concert, everyone? Just soothe our souls, take us to the Spirit of the Lord, and all come together. And that has just been an amazing show. And thank you for everyone who helped share that show out, because Araman came in and just gave us some peace that we all needed. But, before we even get into this kind of, this was unbelievably tragic. But I have clips of this too. But what is the amazing thing is the reaction. There was no riots. There was no crazy, there was no looting, there was no burning, there was no nothing. No, instead, there was a gathering, and it's not just our nation. And I've got clips to show everyone. It's around the world, of prayer, of peace, of calling for an amazing amount of love, through this horrible time. But I'm going to let you tell us about your thoughts on going on with this.
No, I was actually enjoying listening to you.
Oh, yeah. You're awesome. Well, Charlie Kirk is, someone really special. And as my husband was saying, we're going to put up our hellos. I should just probably share the chat, because there's so many hellos going on for you, Berney. They love you when you're here. So we just, everybody, yes, we see that. So I'm going to put these up here for you real quick. But Berney, I've met him a couple of times. And our students, and I shared this on Thursday too, our students, we would take to his Turning Point events. And it was so awesome for them to come and see a group of like-minded individuals where they were like, I'm not alone. But in HLA, it's one of the ways our kids got to meet each other too. And so we would go to his, whether there was a young women's or a students organization, to feel like, because when you're in your own little isolated cities, you tend to feel like, okay, I'm the oddball out, right? But they would walk in and see, anywhere from 2,000 5,000 other children from around the nation, and they're like, wow, making new friends and new connections, and then meeting amazing leaders that would speak there too. And he was always so welcoming and so friendly to all of these youth, and such an uplifter of going, hey, you know what? It's normal to have faith, family, and freedom. It's normal when you want to call it two sexes. It's normal to have that belief in God. It's normal to love your country and have those values, you know, and we're going to teach you to be great leaders. I mean, he was unbelievably amazing. It's a
You know,
true.
I used to wake up in the morning, sit down in front of my computer, and turn him on as an inspiration. And what I mean by that, think about this. Now, you've done a lot of public speaking. I've done my fair share. But to get up face to face in front of a crowd with no notes and just to talk face to face with somebody and share ideas, that's what this country, that's what freedom is built on.
Right,
And for someone to have a problem with that, as far as I'm concerned, is demonic,
right.
honestly. And
Yes,
I
it
got to
is.
admit, I'm usually a pretty positive guy. Yesterday, I sat here and turned on some classical music. It was kind of sad, and I had my own little morning party, and I don't want to down everybody, but this dude was about as good as it gets. And then I kind of got angry,
Right,
real angry. And when I say
right,
angry, that internal anger that you just don't forget. And
right.
so, um, what happened to him? They just turned him into a martyr. Now everybody's going to be Charlie Kirk, and these um, imps that are out there running around stirring things up, they're going to get what's coming to them, and I'm going to help bring it. So there
That's
you
right.
go.
That's right. You know, I mean, that's kind of. I was going to start with something else, but I do want to show you. Let's start off with this because we are gonna show you because I really wanted to show you this one. But what we're talking about right now, I mean, this evil, this crazy, and why we're talking about the moral reckoning and the call through humanity is because what we're seeing here, they call it far right. I just love that, far right. When actually, isn't that just being normal to have morals and ethics and love one another?
Oh
But yet
yeah.
that's considered extremists. So I want to just show you guys, and I'm sorry to start off with this one, but you know what? Let's do it. I mean, this is a prime example of what we're talking about. Listen to this. Oh man, my
People
God.
don't have any intention of saying something that's going to lead to something dangerous, but we cannot take responsibility for the minds that are out there and how they hear it.
Other Democrats are quickly calling for gun control before we have the full picture of the
Right.
alleged assassin.
Oh, sorry guys to start you off with that kind of crazy. We are gonna post that here too, but this is another thing I saw here too, right? It says the left hated Charlie Kirk because they said he was transphobic and homophobic, but yet the left loves Palestinians who are openly transphobic and homophobic. Make
There you
that
go.
make sense? Right? I mean, but this is the kind of the crazy that we've been seeing here too, where I mean, this one here too, we don't have to play this one, but it says President Trump has escalated his war on fake news, demanding that the Federal Communications Commission strip ABC and NBC of their broadcasting license, right? Because of their deep state propaganda. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
I
That's
mean,
all it is.
right, we got this one maybe we have to watch too, because look, I mean, they didn't cause this, but look what she
But
said.
this is a war. This isn't a battle. And we absolutely will win this war.
It is a war. It is indeed a war. And I have to say, they have won some battles, Jasmine, but we have to keep our eye on the war, and everybody needs to pick up a weapon and get involved because this is for
Pick up
the
the
safety and lasting of the country. And everybody needs to pick up
A weapon and fight. I mean, this is what I am talking about here. I mean, this is so crazy. And then even over there in England, this Oxford Union News president calls the right cancers that must be taken out by any means necessary. And he's
Some institutions are too broken, too aggressive, too oppressive to be reformed. Like cancers of our society, they must and they should be taken down by any means necessary.
Isn't this horrific? And this is how they're celebrating this situation. I mean, it's just horrifying. But you know what? We're going to start, and I know that we started kind of off the wrong foot here, guys, but I wanted to start with this because it's so beautiful, because this is how we react.
We're sometimes imperfect. And I took for that moment that I needed to be a better husband and I needed to be a better father because of all these moments that I shared just in the last few days, the books that I've read to my kids, going up to their bedroom and kissing them and hugging them before bed. I just realized that all of these moments that I get to have, Charlie is not able to have them anymore. And Charlie's kids and his beautiful wife are not able to have them anymore. And maybe the best way that I can contribute and the best way that I can honor my dear friend is to be the best husband that I can be, to be the kind of husband to my wife that he was to his. You know, we talked all the time about the most important thing you could do is not vote for a particular candidate. It was to become, if you were a young man, a husband and a father. He talked about the joy that came from fatherhood, the joy that came from raising a family and being part of their growth and their development and all the incredible things that happen when you get to be a husband and father. And that is the way that I'm going to honor my friend, is to be the very best at that most important job that I can be.
And that right there, my friends, are the difference, is the difference. That is exactly the difference. I saw what you guys are saying, right? You can't have unity with people who want you dead just for thinking different. And White Wing says, what a bunch of life losers. But this is the difference. This is what I'm talking about with this whole call for humanity. I mean, I love the posts that say, we are not the same. No, we're not. And you call us far right because we want a normalcy of family, love one another, freedom, you know, right? And it's like, are you kidding me with this? And they have full on call, it's a war, grab something because we got to make sure we basically kill you all because they can't handle it. Yes. What's your thoughts on this, Berney?
Well, first of all, the people I hear calling for war are the softest people on the planet. They probably don't own guns and they're radicalizing other people with words. And we just have to be strong now. Somebody said godless people, you know, that's what I believe. These people are, you know, communists, Marxists, whatever you want to call them. But the issue of the day is if they believed in a creator, they wouldn't act the way they are. And something you brought up just a few minutes ago. Here it is, our side, there's no retribution. Nobody's out killing anybody or rioting. But if you remember a few years ago with George Floyd, there was fires and murders and chaos and all kinds of madness going on. And under the circumstances, I think that we're handling this pretty doggone well. Um, you know, Charlie was just a good human being. And again, a lot of people have trouble with public speaking. He would just get right in the face. And remember, Charlie did not have a formal degree. He was self-taught like Abraham Lincoln. And nobody wanted to debate that guy because he was just on top of every subject, just a master of his surroundings. And I've seen him put PhDs and people with master's degrees to shame. So taking out his voice was probably something at a high level that these people really wanted to happen. And I would venture to say, when it's all said and done and the chips come where they are, that person that they found that committed this atrocity had a lot of help. He had a lot of help. And that looks tactical to me from my background. A young guy like that with no military training, even if he was a hunter, no, he had to have some help. And somebody put him up to this. He was definitely radicalized. But as I said before, Charlie is a martyr now, and he's in a better place. We got to make this thing right. And the way to make it right is to get those people that perpetrated this out of power, not just here in the United States, but worldwide. They've got protests, and I saw in Japan and Korea and England and pretty much all over the world.
That's right. And so you've hit so many things that I've got bookmarked here. So I guess we'll start with that one so we can just see this. Let me load this up because he's so right. You guys, we're going to share this out. Look at this, everyone. So, I mean, I called my friend too, who's going to be in South Korea, is going to come talk to us in a few weeks here about this because we're booked. But look at this. Crowds are now chanting, "We are Charlie Kirk in South Korea," everyone. Yeah. That is so exciting. This one's right here this is, look at that. We are now the median. There's 110,000 at the London rally today. Literally, they had their own helicopter showing the millions of patriots go London. That's not only the one, right? Look at here. It's incredible. So not only UK and Australia are taking their countries back from unelected global criminals. Yeah, we know these fools, right?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. So awesome. I'm sharing these all on X. Please help me share this. Surprisingly, look at this. California. Thank you. It says, holy crap, even
California.
California is turning out in mass for Charlie Kirk. This is the current
Wow.
scene here in Huntington Beach. Go California. You need a lot of help over there, people. We're so happy and proud of you guys. Stand up. And then, like you said about George Floyd, this is a woman who was speaking here, Lydia News on Newsmax. She said, when George Floyd was killed, they burned down my street and caused $2 billion in damages nationwide. When Charlie Kirk was murdered, conservatives from around the world came together in love, song, and prayer. Don't tell me two sides are the same. No, they're not. No, they're
You
not.
know,
But go ahead.
it's amazing that you're able to pull this stuff up because you and I have not coordinated on any of this stuff. I hadn't talked to you since a couple of weeks ago.
That's what I do. I don't know if you guys just think I'm going on a whim. No, it's hours of work for these shows, guys. Just saying, don't forget to hit those like buttons and share because, I mean, it's a full-time job for me to do these 5 shows, everyone. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
book them and then I put them in order so I know, and then I just kind of wait for us to hit certain points or things I want to talk about. But that was my main concern too. I mean, I showed last was it Thursday, even Charlie Kirk debating the guy, the assassin, right? And he pushed himself in front of all the others to get in front of them, and he wanted to debate degrees and all this kind of stuff. And he's like, you know, you're a prime example of a lunatic. You brought a bullhorn, you pushed yourself in front of all these people, and you just want to sit here and debate me on who has the best degree versus even asking questions. You
Yeah.
know, oh, he was so ticked off when he left. And my thing too, because this assassin, you know, coordinated this on Discord, everyone. And so my thought was, who are these other people? And are we going to look into that? Well, guess what? There is some good news. I love to bring you guys good news. I've got 2 of these. Kash Patel comes to the plate, says there was 20 members in this Discord group. And look what he's
Going back to the group chats real quick, there's more than 20 individuals, but this is a great point. I want to lay out how this works. People think we can just get in these group chats and immediately find out who's in them. We, the FBI, are the investigatory body supporting multiple prosecutions and ongoing investigations. And that's another point. Our investigation at the FBI is ongoing. And there are scores of people in this Discord chat room, but we have to effectuate legal process. We have to go out there with search warrants so that if prosecutors want to later use this evidence, it's not tainted by being illegally obtained. We, the FBI, are running the investigation pointedly on the Discord chat group. There are scores of individuals that are going to be spoken to. There are also lots of family members and friends that have already been spoken to. And one more point on forensics. We were able to obtain in record time the text message chain between the suspect and his live-in partner, as well as other critical cellular information from our CAS team that analyzes cell phone data towers in the area to pinpoint the locations of the suspect and other individuals he was speaking with. This is critical information that the FBI processed and got to prosecutors so they can lawfully use it in a court of law. And our investigation, our interviews continue, but we've learned some shocking things when we spoke to his family and friends as well.
That makes me so happy, guys. This is what I'm talking about, where we need to cheerlead these kind of situations. And you guys, you know, my audience, I've talked to you so much about helping support this kind of stuff, sharing, using those voices, but also to be cheerleaders when they're doing something amazing. This is what we voted for. They know he's not alone, and they know that there's not only 20 members in the Discord chat, but like I said, family, friends, the transgender he lived with and whatever. And I'm like, and he's like, well, we're looking into all of them. I'm like, yes, that makes me happy. Everybody do a huge cheerleading, hurrah for that. Go Kash Patel.
Makes me happy too. And bottom line is, I wasn't in the FBI. I was over at the other place. But I know some of those techniques, and they don't necessarily have to be just used on foreign adversaries, especially when something like this has happened. I mean, I couldn't do it where I was because we're focused on the outside of the United States, but the FBI is here to make sure that, terrorism doesn't happen here in the United States. And if it does, go get them, find them, put them in jail. So 3 cheers for Kash Patel. And I'm glad that they're doing what they're doing. And there's a lot of folks out here trying to radicalize people and create mischief, you might say. And so we got to put a lockdown on this thing because regular people just want to mind their own doggone business.
Right? I mean,
Yep.
we want a country that's safe. We want a country where I would love to see community come back, right? But now, I mean, it's to the point like, do you even want to talk to your neighbors? Bring back
Yeah.
the neighborhood barbecues, where bring back the well, you don't have to all go to the same church or whatever, but we have that kind of understanding and love. Again, love for one another. We have morals, we have ethics. We want to just have our kids have an unindoctrinated school,
How about that?
education. Oh my gosh, I've got one for you on that one. Oh my land, this woman so needs to be fired. I just cannot say enough about this, you guys, about school. This just didn't start since COVID, everybody. This has been going on. I mean, I remember the beginnings of this when I was in grade school. And this woman so needs to go. But everyone here, look at this. He says, you need to resign immediately. Look what Randy Weingarten posted here. She writes, this seems inappropriate to state. Now, she's now deleted that. So, and oh, sorry, Republicans, basically. But look what she retweeted. The leftist students in Utah who didn't want Charlie Kirk to speak did what leftists do. They signed petitions, staged a protest, and lined up to challenge him. The right winger who didn't want Charlie Kirk to speak did what the right wingers do and shot him. We are not the same. The only thing I agree with this on here is no, we're not the same, but flip that. Flip that, because the people on the right did not. They're the ones that came. They didn't, and they were praying and they were gathering. And look at, she goes, this seems appropriate to state. She's agreeing with this and pushing this kind of nonsense. This is, whoops, sorry, everyone. Let me add, there we go. This seems absolutely, I mean, not only is it so asinine, but this is who's in charge of the schools, basically. This is the president of the teachers union. And
The
if you guys
National
don't,
Teachers Union.
right, thank you. And if you don't think this is happening in your guys' school, you are wrong. I
Yeah.
cannot scream for homeschooling, loud enough, because how many teachers right now are getting fired for what they're posting and celebrating? I mean, there's another one that just makes me just want to cry my eyes out. If you guys have not heard this story yet, this is going on in our schools, everyone. Let's look at this one here. A teacher allegedly showed Charlie Kirk's assassinated video to 10 and 11-year-olds, told students he deserved to be killed. And Laura Loomer says this should be considered criminal child abuse. The video is the worst thing I've ever seen. It keeps running through my head over and over again, and it's haunting. Showing this to children is demonic energy. Who does that? It's way too easy to be a teacher in our country, and I agree. But this is, how many teachers have we seen get fired right now for this? I think the count's like 730 nurses, teachers, and so forth have been fired over their posts. And this is who's in charge of your kids? I mean, when I worked in the public school system, I would hear the science teacher all day long. Everybody's racist. You're going to amount to nothing. And she was a science teacher. I never heard her talk science, but she was so loud, and the walls were obviously thin enough for me to hear how she told these kids over and over every single period how they would not amount to anything, that people hated them because of the color of their skin, and there was no pathways forward to them. And, I mean, all this kind of nastiness. Talking about elections, talking about politics. And I thought to myself, when's she ever going to teach like science? I mean, it's
Yeah,
horrifying,
she's a
Berney.
science teacher and she's over here, talking social studies things that she shouldn't be talking about in the first place. But I have saw that some of the people that have posted things online, folks need to understand that social media means it's social and you don't have a right to say anything you want to. I mean, yeah, you can say it, but there's a consequence that goes along with it. And some of these people have said ridiculous things about the Charlie Kirk situation and the situation about the poor girl from Ukraine out in Charlotte, North Carolina. And now they're getting knocks on their doors or they're being fired by their employees. I mean, their employers. And the employers don't want to be associated with these people. And yes, there is such a thing as demon possessed. There is negative spirits. Yeah, there is. And, I don't want to get all deep into it. I'm not a theologian or anything like that, but I know evil when I see it. And what happened to Charlie Kirk was evil, and it needs to be dealt with. It needs to be stood up to. And we got to stand up and protect our families one at a time.
That's right. That's right, everyone. So so much going on, and taking this tragedy. And I know everybody's heartbroken. I've been in tears. because it's surprisingly, and it's hard for me to even say this, but when they caught the kid that shot Charlie Kirk, right? When I saw him
Yeah.
and I found out he was 22, I cried. And you're probably like, Lady Hamilton, you cried. I go, yeah, because our system did this to this kid. He started
Yeah.
out as a normal kid, I promise you.
Oh yeah.
And then going to the public schools and then going to these colleges, because I don't even know if there's a safe college out here. And Utah used to be one of the most conservative states in the nation, right? And he ends
Used
up
to be.
joining, and that's what they do. They join these groups, they usher them in from grade school to the college, and next thing you know, he comes out, who knows what kind of medication they put him on, who knows what he was trained to say, then what groups he joined, what these professors were saying on top of it. Then he joined crazy groups that hated this kind of thing. Charlie Kirk was a fascist and the Nazi and whatever he might think. But I cried. Not that I don't feel that he needs to have justice. I do think he needs to face his consequences. But I was like, look what our nation has done to this young man, and now he's an assassin.
And yeah,
And
Utah
right.
is probably the most conservative state that I can think of, and it probably still is. But these people were an anomaly. We still live in a wonderful country, but we can't sit back. I think, what do they say? The price of liberty is eternal vigilance. We got to pay attention. We got something good here, and we don't want to lose it. And there are people out there trying to radicalize people. Whomever is really truly responsible for radicalizing this young man, we may never ever see that person. They may not even live in the United States, but somehow, some way, this kid was able to do the things he did. And his father, if I'm not mistaken, was a police officer. And you don't expect that from a cop's son, but people get into all kinds of things. And also, there's a concept of drugs. I don't know if that was evaluated by the FBI or anything like that. I know they got an investigation going on. It'll be hush hush for a while, but I know with these transgender people, anybody who's going through that is on crazy drugs and medications. And I know that the president was pushing a deal to make sure that those people weren't able to have access to weapons. That makes a whole lot of sense to me, because when somebody is on mind altering drugs, they may not see what we see.
Right. And my only concern is making sure that they're going through a process of being I found out if that's actually an issue. Are they on drugs or whatever? Because we don't want to lose any Second Amendment rights here. But right, I mean, these people need help. They need help. They might need the counseling. They might need, and then I don't know, because the counselors half the time are super crazy. So we've got a lot of work to do here. But the number one thing I do agree with is we got to stop and start saying no more. I love the whole just say no. Let's bring that back in a different way, everyone, and say just say no, and keep standing up for your morals. Keep standing up for normalcy. Keep standing up for those values, our freedom. And again, I cannot preach this enough. Love one another. We may hate these guys, but when we show that, it's just showing our ugly side, which we don't do, guys. We don't do. And what I was so proud of is to see the whole nation and world come together in prayer, love, and humanity. And we have got to continue being that. That needs to be the normal. And we've got to fight for that to come back to this nation and do our part to cheerlead, promote. I mean, call out when you need to call out and say, hey, no more. You guys see me do the same thing. But also make sure we're cheerleading the ones that are doing the heavy lifting as well. Right?
I read somewhere there has been 2,700 applications for new Turning Point chapters all over the United States. That's totally impressive. These kids.
It's so more than that. Hold on, Berney, 1 second. I got to show this. It's so more than that, guys. It's 32,000. 32,000.
Wow. That's crazy.
So far, right. So far, the current numbers are 900 colleges and 1,200 high schools currently. And they got 32,000 inquiries. I am so proud of that. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's what I was going to say. I mean, the bottom line is they created a whole lot of Charlie Kirks. And I was reading the words from his widow, and I can't quote them, but basically she said the same thing. Don't think that this is going to go away. She said she's going to try to lead a movement to make Charlie into the martyr that he is. And what she means by that, she's going to replace Charlie with thousands and thousands and thousands of other young people. This is for the bad guys, this is the worst thing they could have possibly done. And another thing about 2A, they're trying to take Charlie's words and turn them against what he believed in. He was a big advocate for the Second Amendment. And I tell you, I've been around guns all my life. I've never seen a gun automatically shoot anyone. I mean, by itself. You could walk
No.
into the National Guard armory, sleep there overnight by yourself, and there's not one gun that's going to shoot you. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. So for these leftists to try to change things around is just terrible. And we can't let them get away with their fake speech, because this is straight out of the book 1984. This is what they're doing. They've got hate speech. They're turning things around. They're changing the meaning of words. Somebody said I was cisgender the other day. What's that? Can you tell me what it is? Yeah. And I guess that means that I'm a normal human being. But the issue today is that who told you that you get to tell me who I am?
Right.
I'm just a regular, red-blooded, normal human being. If you want to be whatever the heck you want to be, you go ahead and be whatever you want to be. But I don't have to play along in your charade.
Right. And that's where it's gone to crazy. Because the great thing about our freedoms, guys, and we have to talk about the First Amendment. And like you said earlier, you can say whatever you want to. We can say whatever we want to, because that's protected. We might not like it, but it's protected under the freedom of speech. But there's always consequences. You're going to threaten somebody's life, be prepared for a consequence. But the fact is, you also have the freedom to be who you want to. Hopefully you've done the research and know that they're, especially if you're going to transition yourself. I mean, the hormones, the surgeries, the mental state. Hopefully you've done the critical thinking, which we're going to talk about on Thursday. But the fact is, you have that right. But when you sit there and throw that on me, I mean, it's crazy. And they probably feel the same way, that, oh, we're trying to throw our faith and our whatever on them. No, we're trying to have our Constitution and also protect your freedoms. But we're not going to have your insanity of you pushing this crazy on us. We're not going to have you murdering and calling for our murders. We don't call for your murders. I mean, even with George Floyd, we may not have agreed that was the person that they should have held up as a martyr. He didn't really have a great track record, but did we all sit there and celebrate it like, woohoo? I don't know, right? I mean, it's not something that we were all, talking about and saying, and then calling for more people to be killed. I mean, we definitely want some people out of office. And so forth. They need to retire and things like that. We may not agree with them. A lot of us don't agree with them. But I don't sit there and call it, I'm not one. I don't know if you guys are, but I have not seen it, nor do I call out for murder for anybody. That's the difference. That's the difference.
Yeah, they're crazy. And the bottom line is that I'm just, again, so proud of our side for not rioting in the streets and creating a lot of damage. I mean, we have been as civil as possible. And, here in Maryland, in this blue state that we have, there has been a I'm looking at that's pretty funny. I'm sorry, you messed up my concentration. That's hilarious.
It is hilarious. Go ahead. Well,
There's crazy people all over. But there's been vigils all over Maryland and Virginia and Pennsylvania, places a lot of my friends have been going. And I'm just so proud of them. People are going out. Thursday night, I was at the Anne Arundel County Fair. And I was sitting around thinking right before the fair, this bad thing had happened. It was 911, and notice, there's, this bad thing had happened. And I was sitting here thinking, like, maybe I'm just not in the mood to go to do this. I was bumming a little bit, I gotta admit. And then I said, Charlie would not want us to be afraid. He would want us to be out there loud and proud. And you know what I did? I packed my stuff up and I got in my truck and I drove over to the Anne Arundel County Fair, and I had met up with my buddies, and we sold a whole lot of Trump gear and raised money for the Republican Party. And it was wonderful. I had a good time, and I had some funnel cakes too. It was awesome.
Oh, nice. Nice. I love that. Well, you guys, I didn't, get out. We were kind of busy this week, but my way of doing that is, like I said, we had a huge concert last night because
Yeah.
that's what we do. When we are, at least the people I know and I hang around with, and I love all my wonderful viewers and friends and so forth, but when we're hurting and we see an amazing tragedy like this, I mean, think of 9/11, or when, my parents, when JFK died, you hang together with your community. You go and you're in prayer, you're crying, you're weeping together, you're leaning on each other. So to have that amazing concert last night, and we had thousands of views for this, and thank you guys so much for that. But that just goes to show you how many people needed that moment. And that's what I'm so proud of, like you said, is we showed up around the country, around the world, in love, humanity, sorrow, sure, and mourning, but leaning on each other for support and literally calling for the Father, calling for the Savior to ease our souls and understand this kind of nightmare of a situation, right? It's beautiful, everyone. I'm with you. I'm so proud of everybody for that.
You got to be loud and proud. And, Thursday night, I was at, the Anne Arundel County Fair, 100 miles away. There is my friend was running for state delegate. I'm not going to, well, I appreciate that too. I love me some
He's
funnel
on a
cake.
roll, right?
But over at, if you guys know this area, Westminster, probably a good little ways from Annapolis, it's in Carroll County, but the issue today is about 100 miles west. And we went there, and this young lady, Sally Taylor, is running for delegate, and I went over there to support her, and there must have been 75 people in this little barbecue joint, and we had a ball. Now, everybody was kind of talking a little bit about the Charlie Kirk situation, but we were joyous that nobody was afraid to show up. Right. Sally is a good human being, and I hope she gets elected. But the main thing there was that we weren't afraid. They say there's an old saying where I'm from: country folks will survive. Well,
I love that song.
Well, that's how we roll. That's how we roll.
My husband's always playing that. It's one of his favorites, everyone. And yes, I love to see Berney smile too, right? And it's amazing that we all are doing it, but that's, again, the love we have for each other, everyone out there. It's so nice to be with friends, to make each other smile, and to be reminded, again, in this huge amount of tragedy, to see the love, again, the love that we have for each other. Can I play something here, Berney, just to kind of show the love that I've seen? All right. Please. Thank you. It's only a minute clip here, but this is just one example of what I've saw, everybody. But look at this. Country singer Luke Bryan sang this song for Charlie Kirk after his assassination, right? And we only get stronger. But I saw so many people, and I've seen a lot of artists come out that were doing that in their concerts, and they were singing or making statements and making, we've seen it at football stadiums and games and whatever. But this is just really cool.
Funny how the good ones go too soon, but the people know the reasons why. Sometimes a greater pain is kind of hard to understand. Right now it don't make sense. Can't make it don't make sense. So I'm gonna sit right here on the edge of this and watch the sunset disappear. Drink again. So long, my friend, until we meet again. I remember you in all the times we used to. Sit right on the edge of this field and watch the sunset disappear. Drink again. want to hear y'all tonight. I want to hear y'all sing Louisiana.
I mean, that is really beautiful. And as we're talking, I'm going to show everybody some things because this is how we handle things, everybody. Look at this. We're just going to stream through some of these, right? There is the massive Sea of Candles in Lake Havasu City in Arizona, right? This is another, Edmonton, this is Alabama. Look at this, guys. Oh, I love it. Look at all the candles and all these concerts, right? Look at this. Just amazing, everybody. That's how we do it. That's how we do it, right? Just seeing everybody gather together and say, you know what, this is how we're going to handle this kind of stuff. And I'm very proud of every single one of you. And if you're like Berney and had some funnel cake and had a great time being with each other and celebrating, you know, the life that he had, it's absolutely amazing.
People like that, like Charlie, don't last long. They really don't. It's a sad thing, but he came here to make his mark, and he did. I mean, Jesus only lives 33 years. Think about that, you
Right?
know?
This is true.
And man was struck down in his prime, but we don't need to let this slide. I'm not saying go out and do anything crazy, but everything you can do within the law, everything you can do within the confines of social media or working through whatever organization that you belong to, this is the time. And when it comes to elections and things like that, we need to get behind our people because the only way we're going to make this stop is to legislate it, put some of these crazy people into the mental health facilities that they need, and stop some of these people radicalizing, because this is weakening us. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw congressional hearings just recently when they were grilling RFK, but the Chinese government has been putting stuff into those vape things that people smoke to encourage homosexuality. Yeah,
Oh, I've not seen that.
yeah. And
Wow.
and
Wow.
so those folks generally don't make good soldiers. So if somebody wanted, I know it sounds far-fetched, but if you wanted to weaken a country, you do it from within. You don't fight somebody like the United States. You make the populace so indifferent that they won't stand up against you. And that's what the Chinese want is global domination. They want to be quote unquote the hegemon like we are. It's not their turn yet, not as long as I breathe.
That's right. And this is it's so important, you guys. I cannot tell you enough how important it is to be active in your states, making a change, because I am sick of a Congress that does nothing. I'm sick of a Congress, and that's the House and the Senate. That makes our Congress, right? I'm sick of
Yep.
the way that they speak. I'm sick of the way that they think. I'm sick of the fact that they think they don't even have to answer to us. They don't have to hear our voices. They're definitely not supporting our administration, right? It makes me really, really sad. Oh, we lost it for a minute. But get this. I
No,
don't know if you guys knew this.
that was just
Did
me
you?
because I just was pushing buttons and stuff. You got to forgive me. I'm learning how to work this stuff.
Right. So while the nation mourned Charlie Kirk's death, the Congress quietly votes against releasing the Epstein secret files. Senate blocks them 51-49.
Yeah. It's
So this
funny
is
how
what
they
they
do that
do,
stuff behind
right?
the scenes when everybody's focused on here. It's like a shell game. Let's go do this thing while everybody's focused on Charlie Kirk.
Right? And I'm tired of this. I'm tired of them thinking, that there are our gods and our whatever. No, you got voted in, or I don't know, some of them cheated their way in, I'm sure, or whatever they did, scheme, plan, and plot. But you literally are supposed to be answering to the district and the people you represent, and none of them seem to even recognize that. And that needs to stop. And when I would love to see a clean house, I'd love to see you and I in there. But I don't know about you. I'm a little terrified of going into the pits of hell right now. But, I mean, how else do we get this out? But this is something that
Wow.
needs to change. People that really care about the people that they represent and making a nation where we all can feel safe, loved, and celebrate our freedoms. We don't have to get along. We don't have to think the same way, but we should be able to celebrate the constitutional rights we have and at least our safety.
I always tell my wife if both of us thought the same way all the time, one of us wouldn't be necessary. So, the bottom line is we got to This is our time. We got to step up, as I said before, get into our organizations and make sure that our representatives do their job, protect our rights. We've got our guy in office. He's not perfect, but none of us are. So the issue of the day is let's pull together and make this stop so it doesn't happen to the next Charlie Kirk.
That's right. That's right. And I'm really glad, you know, there they are. That's right. Oh, you were talking about the babes. I mean, I had never heard that story yet. I'm gonna now that's gonna have to look into that. Be like, hey, Nurse Patrick, you know, what he said about that. Another thing for our health and healing shows, right? But you know, they've awakened. Not only did they awaken a lot of the people, you know, and lit a fire, you know, to make us realize, oh, wait a minute, what in the world's going on? But you know how many Democrats are going, wait a minute, these are the people that are supposed to represent us. And I'm glad that they're waking up too, going, I don't want this kind of hatred representing me. But also the youth, with 32,000 inquiries about having those turning points at their colleges and high schools now. You are waking up the young, which are great, because when I'm old and I'm selfish, I want those kind of people running the world. You know, not when I'm out with the beta males. Like you said, you know, I want to see the ones that actually care and give a damn, you know? So
Well, you know, it's sad because there was a group of young people, probably between the ages of 30 and up until about 45. I say young people being that I'm old, but they had been targeted and indoctrinated, and they had been turned into victims. And now the younger people below, say, 27, for the most part, they're not having it. Yeah, this kid was radicalized at 22, but you know, I've been around some of those turning point people, and they are just as positive as you possibly can be. They're, you know, they don't believe in all this racist mess, you know, and the Democrat way of life is dwindling. They're losing followers. I mean, we're not even talking about, like, right now, look at DC, and they just had this big deployment of National Guard people. Those are young people out there, and they haven't had a murder in weeks. And you know, they went 10 years where there was just murders every doggone day almost. But now things are better. And the next thing to do is the president's going to come, I believe, into Chicago and eventually Baltimore and some of these other cities. But the issue of the day is there's a way to raise a family, there's a way to run a country, and we got to get back to the conservative ways. And that's what I'm about.
that's right. Well, you shared a couple clips with me via email. Do you want me to play one of those? Because you have a few that were pretty amazing.
Well, you know, the one with the lawyer, the guy says a few curse words, so
Yep.
just be advised, but it's definitely worth listening to. Both of them are.
Yeah, they are. We can listen to both. I have no problem. We're going to start with the one with the lawyer here. There we go. All right, everyone. This is a lawyer from South Carolina, and let's hear what he has to say.
The amount of calls that we have received, I think it's not that many, but it's about 6 now, calls that were received from individuals who are specifically saying, I want to make sure I get this right, I have been terminated, I have been put on suspension by my job for things that I have said on my private social media account. First of all, I want you to think about those things. Private social media, they do not go hand in hand together. But a lot of comments that we're getting specifically about the unfortunate death of Charlie Kirk. Why do I say unfortunate? Because I don't care who you are as a human being, you should not root for another human being's life to be taken, whether you agree with their political views. I'm old enough to remember the whole phrase, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. I think we have forgotten that as a society. And if we get to the point where we're simply to the point that if somebody says something that we think they deserve to die, there's a bit of me that actually believes that Mr. Kirk, whether I agree or disagree with his views, the fact that he was willing to engage in a logical debate, and by the way, that is what we do as attorneys, that if we have different views with our opposing sides, it's basically an intellectual debate. You should not lose your life for engaging into intellectual debate with anybody. And there's a bit of me that believes that I don't know if he actually believes half of the shit that he was actually saying, because, you know, some of it is just rage baiting to get encouragement. By that same definition, are we going to start saying that we have a problem with Leonardo DiCaprio for playing a racist in a movie, even though he was acting? Anyway, what is ending up happening are people are forgetting about the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. They're saying, hey, Mr. Kent, I have freedom of speech. I should be allowed to say anything I want at work on my private social media account. Again, no such thing. Stop saying this is private. One, it's not private because you're posting it. Social, by definition, is social in media. Come on. But what I encourage people when I tell them is your employer, especially in South Carolina is a right to work state. What does that mean? That means your employer can say, you know what, get the fuck out of here. We're not going to listen to this discourse. You cannot post this stuff on the page. Some individuals have come to us and basically, let's say they're a teacher. They're a teacher and they are saying that, you know what, my school district has suspended me because I said, Charlie Kirk, he deserves to die. You teaching our kids? Or you work for an elected official and you want to put political things on your post and your elected official says, nah, bro, you don't work here. South Carolina is a right to work state. Number two, when we talk about freedom of speech, you have the right to say whatever the hell you want, but people tend to forget you can say what you want. Our government is not going to arrest you for saying what you want. We're not going to kill you for saying what you want. However, your employer has the right to terminate you. They are two different things. People get confused on freedom of speech and freedom of consequences. There are consequences to our actions. So when we get those calls and people ask us, can I file a lawsuit because my employer terminated me because of the stuff that I put on my private social media account? At least in South Carolina, my response is they can terminate you for anything they want to. As a matter of fact, a lot of times when employers contact me and say, how should I terminate an employee? I said, don't give them a damn reason. You work at sometimes as the sheriff say, you work at the will and the discretion of the sheriff. Don't give them a damn reason. There's a famous quote from a pretty, I don't know how to say it, a pretty prolific philosopher, old Dave Chappelle. You know, everybody wants to give an opinion, and he had something that was pretty great to say. He says, you could shut the fuck up.
I love it. I agree. This is my favorite thing. I love it. Oh my gosh, Berney. I like, right. That is awesome. I'm going to share that out too. But he's so right. I mean, and I agree. That's thank you, Alionis. But I agree. You say whatever the heck you want to. Go for it. But don't be surprised when there is consequences. And you guys, that's so right. Social media or the internet per se. How many times do you say the internet's forever? You can go and try to clean up that. I mean, I saw that a lot with the Biden when he was running. I was even trying to show students. I was like, you know, I want you guys to judge people by their actions. And I was trying to look up both sides. I'm like, where the heck did all that garbage go about Biden? I was like, I didn't say that to the students, but I was thinking, I'm like, what the heck? But somebody still finds that because the internet's forever. Social media is forever. It's not private.
Oh, it's not.
Right. Say what you want to in your own house, but you know, you're gonna have consequences.
Oh,
anyways, that guy was great. Oh my gosh, I love that. That's right. That's what they said. You guys make sure you find that on X. I just I guess tweeted. I don't know what else we say. You guys, if you're following me over there, you know, you guys can share that out as well because wasn't that awesome?
Too funny. Too funny. I'm glad you played that. I thought it was a little raunchy for you, but yeah, you took it. It's wonderful. There's beautiful.
You know what? Just because, you know, and there's some times where, you know, I mean, people probably don't hear that. There's times I have those kind of words too. Get me pretty angry, see what happens per se. But you're not ever going to talk like that in public. But it was appropriate. There are certain times, you know, like I said earlier, I mean, I may not use that word, but I'm like, I don't give a damn what you guys do. There are going to be consequences, you know. You need, so there are certain times for those things, but I love that. And I'm glad that, you know, that's also something I'm very proud about is that we have employers out there. They're saying you're representing us and we're not going to accept that anymore. That's a huge win, guys, that there are actual employers. Because remember, I mean, I know that the vaccines are the same, but they didn't care at that time, you know, but that was, you know, kind of a mandate. It's a whole different situation. But we were so evil. We were bastardized about the situation and, you know, ostracized, you know, and so forth like that. But it's now people, maybe they feel comfortable to sit there and go that. But again, you're celebrating a murder. And, we're employing that, and then you think that you're being private about it.
Well, you know, here's the thing. somehow we have lost a lot of our morality and we've got to get that back. For somebody to think that it's okay to murder somebody because of what they said, as I said before, that's demonic. That is not of the creator. So we got to get that back. We're going to have to scratch and claw and get it back on our own. And the way you do that is set the example, and more importantly, not stand for these people to just say ridiculous, crazy things and expect to get away with it.
That's right. That's right. You know, that's why I titled this show about the moral reckoning, because that's something that we're not even seeing. You know, I mean, again, that's one of the things that church and religion and so forth bring to the whole idea of the 10 Commandments, you know, or the 10 deadly sins or those kind of things. I mean, whether you agree in being religious or not, but that did bring a moral compass to people, you know, and you may not agree with one religion or the other, but it was a worldwide thing, and it had been for thousands of years. In fact, when Constantine decided to bring in Christianity and go with that, he wanted to gather the people and have a sense of morality, because it was just you know, chaos and, you know, evil and sinful and whatever, kind of something like maybe we're seeing now, I can imagine. And he's like, no more. We need to have some. Why do you think we have the 10 Commandments? It was just like, oh no, no. Well, somebody had to be told, don't kill each other, don't sleep with each other's wives and husbands, you know,
Don't steal,
lie,
don't murder, you know.
the people had to be told that, because if we just run loose, we see things like this happen.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe that's something, you know, my husband says one of the greatest ways to bring great education back is if we had some kind of critical thinking in the school, like a class, you know, maybe not in every class, but if we taught these kids to have morals and critical thinking and ethics and bring that back into the public school system, all of a sudden, if they have a crazy teacher, at least they'll have the sense to be able to go, wait a minute, I need to think about that or challenge that or whatever, and need to be taught those kind of skills. But who's teaching them, you know, hey, don't kill each other, don't steal, don't, you know, they're not. And I do see some schools that are trying to bring back like the 10 Commandments and things like that. Good, because there needs to be some kind of main laws. But this moral reckoning that we're call for humanity is so important, everybody. And we're the light. That's probably one of the reasons we share like art and beauty and fun kind of stuff too, because if they don't ever see it, how do they even recognize it?
There you go. Folks got to wake up. And you know something funny? I know I'm going to sound like some nutcase conspiracy theorist, but hear me out. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell's father, do you realize that he was in the publishing business?
Yes, you know,
Most
I
of
brought
the
that up.
Yeah, most
Go
of the
ahead.
books that we use in our
Right,
schools came from Macmillan Publishing, and he
right.
owned that. So they've been pushing
Mhm.
that agenda for a very, very long time in an insidious way. We wouldn't even know that we're being bamboozled. And, you know, they're pushing away the nuclear family and pushing away the things that keep America together. We need to do a wholesale cleaning of our education system.
That's right. That's right.
Because when
And you know,
when we produce nutcases like that 22-year-old that did that shooting, we're doing something wrong. We're doing something
and
wrong.
that I really wish JJ would. I know he's back at work, but JJ has like an Excel sheet, you guys, of what episodes, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but I don't know, about a month or so again, you guys, I did a whole episode basically on education. It was kind of parents. It was like one of those alarms, you know, for the parents, you know. So the whole thing was about giving you guys information so you had it in your arsenal, so that you knew how to fight and challenge your own schools or what was happening in your own schools. And that is something I brought to your attention, is that Macmillan textbooks ended up being owned by Gislaine's father. And
Yeah.
that was, I was just looking that up for everybody. That they were actually first published in 1844. Can you believe that, everyone? But Maxwell bought it. Let's see, Maxwell. Let me look that up. I believe he bought it in the 60s. Let me see. Sorry, guys. No, sorry, 1988. My apologies, everyone. I was a little few decades off. 1988 is when Maxwell's father decided to buy that and publish it and start
So where
changing
did
it.
he get the money to buy a publishing house that services the entire United States?
Right. He also owns McGraw Hill, by the way.
Yeah. The two biggest publishers in the United States that service schools. Nobody looks at the school textbook except for people on the school board and teachers.
That's right. And me, who fights for education so hard, guys. I mean, I get that, but I don't know. I keep saying I need to be part of, Linda McMahon's kind of thing because, guys, we're not going to get off on the whole AI thing, but I'm not in agreement with that either. Because our kids, we talked about this last week, Berney. Our kids, they say that 50, according to statistics and the poll, or not polls, but what they took last year in 2025, 54% of our youth can only read at a fourth grade level. Now, this is a shocker. They say 67% of adults can only read at sixth grade level. So I'm a
They have
little
been
against
attacking our schools. We used to be the #1 school system in the world when we were in school as youngsters, and now kids can't read. They can't even write cursive anymore.
No, I taught that too at HLA because I'm like, that's the whole point of not being able to read our founding documents and our, things. Those are all written in cursive. And when you go and even look that kind of stuff up now, I mean, what did they take out? They love to change words. They love to change history. So,
Yeah.
or now you got AI, and who knows? We just saw this too last week, right? With Gates, with President Trump. And I know President Trump is all big on the AI thing, but he's surrounded by the sharks. And Gates like, we're so happy that we're the brains of AI. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Bill
I'm a
Gates
little.
is a terrible human being, and he doesn't need to be anywhere near our president.
Oh, and he was. And he was part of that tech dinner. And then they had the thing with Melania as they're pushing the AI education from K-12 through our colleges. And she said it needed to be what is the word she used? It needs to be basically looked over, right? And make sure that it's protected. But I'm like, by these guys, the ones that are building it, I'm like, somebody please tell Trump that he's the worst.
This man, I've so many things I'd like to say about him, but I'll start cursing and it'll be bad. I'll start doing the soldier thing. But the issue of the day is he's a terrible human being. Why is it the guy who has no bachelor's degree is selling us COVID vaccines and selling us computers and spreading mischief all over the world? He's been kicked out of several countries. He's been kicked out of India. I think he's been kicked out of Zambia. I think he's been kicked out of Congo. You could look it up on the computer, but the issue today, he's been kicked out of several countries because he's not a good human being. And that goes for George Soros too.
That's right. That's right. And he was so excited. You guys remember he's given, and everybody at that table, and Elon Musk surprisingly was the only tech guy that wasn't there. I don't know why, but on this episode that was from last Monday, we kind of talked about this. I mean, and there was great scenes because you could see it in Melania's face that she's very worried. She's like, okay. And she's like, and she started her speech was like, the robots are here. Melania. And you could see that she was really worried. But I was like, on the other hand of me, I was like, but you invited the sharks to the table and they were each giving $400 million to promote AI in our education, starting with our youth. And I'm like, and that's why I showed the statistics. I'm like, our kids can't even read, and now you got AI telling them who knows what facts. You think a 5-year-old can be able?
We're just giving the farm away to Bill Gates.
Yes, and he was so excited. You could see the sick, evil thing. He was like almost licking his lips. He was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh.
Doesn't he have enough money yet?
I begged everybody, please scream no. And I saw one of my artist friends call it the gates of hell. And I'm like, oh, I like that. Stop the gates of hell.
It's funny. There's an old saying where I come from. The devil can't come in your house unless you let him in. We're letting the devil into our house.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And we just have to hope that maybe he's got some understanding. But you know what? I showed you guys also last week, we left with major hopium that the president did hear us. And I showed you guys those things. But if we scream loud enough, I mean, not in a bad way, but if you tag him and share him, and these things, if enough people do, he starts hearing it and seeing it. And maybe he hasn't got the message about Gates, and we all need to scream some more. But I did today because he was promoting his butter, his fake butter. And I was like, oh, no. And I called him the gates of hell. I said, we are done with the gates of the hell. They need to leave our lives.
He just needs to go somewhere, dig himself a hole and jump in. Or how about taking a long walk on a short pier?
There's an island, a privacy waiting for you. Go and you got enough money. Go and enjoy it, live your life, and leave us all alone. I mean, obviously, you being kicked out of all these countries, get the hint. Read the room. I mean, what to tell you, right?
Yeah.
Take your buddies with you and create your own little Atlas Shrugged environment over there, you know, and just live happy. I mean, I was talking to a friend, she's in the audience right now though too, about them building like their tunnels and underground bunkers in case the world comes to an end. And I kind of laugh about that. I'm like, can you imagine all the Congress and all the world leaders all in a bunker together for like 10 years? They think it's great and it's going to save them, but I'm kind of laughing about that. I'm like, you guys are going to kill each other.
Yeah, I believe they would.
You're not going to
I
laugh
believe they
long
would.
together. Like, let us know how that works out for you. You know, but I don't know, you guys. We have to. Our voices have power. I think that's what we talked about last week. Is our voices have power, and we just continue to cheerlead the things that we're seeing. That's great. Shout at the things that we don't. Let our voices be heard. You know, you don't want Gates controlling our food, our medicine, and our education. Keep screaming, because it's not going to change if we don't. And I'm not opposed to AI. I think it's great for college students and even an elective or degree because I love STEM fields, but not for our 5-year-olds who can't even read. Obviously, not for our high schoolers who can't read either. Maybe we need to start.
Yeah, Bill Gates, you know, why is he in charge of everything? I mean, he doesn't seem to be that particularly bright of a guy. I've used his software for such a long time that I decided I was never going to use any more Microsoft projects. So, bottom line is that, you know, he's not that bright, but he is conniving. And
Sorry,
he's not a good person.
I'm sorry, Prozzy. I didn't even think about that. I don't know why, but he's like, he does have a good track record with islands. You know, right? I mean, Elon was saying that. We shared that last week too. Elon was like, somebody asked him about Gates. He's like, I wouldn't trust that guy to watch my kids. I'm like, right.
Not at
But
all.
I laugh. I don't know, because I don't want to cry. But you guys, I need you guys. We both sit here. We need you guys to help us be this no more. No more gates of hell. Everybody start hashtagging that. No more the gates to hell, you know?
Do you know he's the largest owner of private farmland in the United States?
Yes.
What does he know about farming?
Nothing. Nothing.
Exactly.
And I mean, what does he even know about medicine? Does he even have a degree? We just talked about that.
He
He doesn't have any, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, and yeah.
Keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
And I'm like, they're hoping that Trump's doing that. But
I hope so.
you know, I hope so too. I mean, I don't know who they're going to get as a counsel to watch it. I did read, and I should have. I could probably look it up on my email here. You guys, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. It was from let's see. Where is it? Not Positive News. It was from 1440. It was a newsletter I got. Do I not have that? I'm totally reading it. I hope I didn't delete it. I think I did. Sorry, guys. Let me see. Anyways, I probably could look it up. But California just signed in a AI watch and guard. I was like, what? So let me see. California lawmakers. I found it here. I'm pretty good on this. On the moment, guys. But right here, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know whether to be yay or nay. Probably nay. But California lawmakers just passed a landmark bill that will test Gavin Newsom on AI. So they decided that they want to have safety legislation that could test the ambitious California governor's ties with deep state industry. The bill, which cleared a final vote in the state, would require AI companies to disclose their safety testing regimens and certify that they are following them. I was like, what? California coming out with California. I'm not,
that
and this is coming
blows me away.
Right? And this is coming from Politico. So this is even more shocking. To test Governor Newsom's idea on AI. I'm like, I don't know what's happening in California, but hallelujah.
They did something normal, common sense. I don't know the right word to say.
I don't either. I don't either. I was
maybe there's hope for California after all.
Right, and then they're standing up there in the wonderful gatherings for Kirk, I'm like, because I know California is way more red than they claim it is. And then,
Oh,
they need
yeah.
to clean up their roles and districting and stuff like that, because you're going to see California go no more. And I hope to see that. It's a beautiful state that they've ruined, right? With these
They
kind of
used to
policies,
have the #1 school system in the world, bar
right?
none, even among other states. And that was within my lifetime as I was growing up. They were the place to be. And they got radicalized, and now they got communists running everything. And that's got to stop.
That's right. That's right. I mean, I can't wait to find out more about that, guys. I mean, it's just like, wow. And you're right. He is another team White Wings over there on Field, right? But, and they're challenging him. And that's the state legislature. So whoever, I mean, it's like, I don't know, without looking it up, you guys could probably do that. I don't know if I thought it was Democrat, led, but
It is.
obviously it is. And they're worried about AI and education. And I'm like, well, I thought you guys were totally pushing the indoctrination with the schools. What's happening? Maybe they're afraid the AI is going to be a little conservative, and maybe they don't want that either. I don't know, but safety regulations starting in California.
Once that AI takes over, you'll never get rid of it. You'll
It's
never be
already
able to
there.
get rid of it. Yeah.
And that's what Melania was saying in her speech. She's like, it's already here. And they
Yep.
want to, I get President Trump's love. He's like, if we're going to have this in this day and age, we need to be in the powerhouse of this. And I get how he wants to be the leader of AI. And hopefully they did call for a council to regulate this and look over for safety. That was, like I said, you could see it in Melania's face that she's like, we really need to have safety on this.
Yeah.
But when China's, I showed a video of where China's kids are at. But the difference, though, is China's literacy rate is at like 98, 99%. We're over here rocking, 54% at fourth grade level. I'm like,
And another
wow.
thing, if I may, with the internet, they have what they call the Great Firewall. Now, anybody that wants to from another country can attack our infrastructure, can attack our internet and put whatever, TikTok is owned by a Chinese company, even after all this time. But you try doing that in China, they control the internet. They don't let their children just run willy-nilly. You try doing some pornography in China and you'll find yourself in jail faster than you can shake your head. And they don't play that. They're trying to encourage their children to be engineers. And on TikTok, they're encouraging our children to be degenerates. So we got to get a handle on this. And, the Democrats, the Biden people, and the Obama people just let things go too far. And I think they did it on purpose because I don't think that they love America. I really don't.
No. Right. Well, we can see that. We can see that with we just played that clip from oh, come on, Jasmine Crockett, where she's like, we're at war and we need to get up our weapons. Right. That's the one, right?
Yep.
But she's literally calling. We guys just saw this at the beginning of the show where she's calling for, we are at war. Grab your weapons. You're like,
she
wow.
has no weapons. All she has is a big mouth.
No, but it's funny because they all have security. They all have whatever, protect them, but heaven forbid. But they just don't. They don't show it. And I would say too. I mean, there might be. I don't know. I mean, JFK, he could have been a conservative if we look at the way he is now, but he was a Democrat at that time. But I always would tell, and I don't ever get political. And I remember teaching in public school during the 2020 election. And all I kept telling the kids, and they didn't even know that the governor and Congress and whatever the school board was running. So I had to wake them up to that too. They're like, what? I thought it was just the president. I'm like, okay, wow. I'm the art teacher, Berney. I'm the art teacher.
Folks got to wake up. Folks got to wake up. That county commissioner has got more control over your life than the president.
That's right.
People don't realize that. We got to pay attention to those lower races. But I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. The only thing I would tell my students, because I don't get political, I'm not here to sit there and tell you who I believe or whatever. You don't know anything about my personal life or whatever. But I said, judge the person by their actions. Do the research. Have they done anything for your school? Have they done anything for your town? Have they done right? Judge them by their actions and not just the last few months where they're trying, you know, to do something like not to not to dish on what's his name, Ted Cruz, but I saw that he was painting some streets thing, you know, because it was fell about Charlie Kirk, and he's like painting over the sign, and he's like, "Did you get a picture of that?" I was like, "Oh man, yeah, I'm glad you're doing that, but you know, you're just doing that for to look good right now."
Clickbait.
But
Yeah,
right,
Charles. I mean, what's this? Ted Cruz.
right,
That dude is fake as a $3 bill.
exactly. So I was telling the students, you got to literally look back in their history. I mean, especially some of these politicians that have been in for a very long time. Have they done anything to help you? I mean, these
No.
kids didn't even know that they could get scholarships and they could, you know, build their own businesses. You know, they're like, "What, Miss Hamilton? You're." I'm like,
You
"Oh wow."
you know, you
Go ahead.
remind me of back in the last when Trump was running the first time and he called him Lion Ted. You remember that? Oh, I used to love that. Boy, I tell you, one thing Trump does well is pick out names for people. It's hilarious. He hasn't done it lately. I guess he has to be more presidential, but I tell you, he sure is entertaining.
You know, you say that, but I still think that he refers to Gavin Newsom as new scum. He holds on to a few that he still loves, you know. And oh boy, that really irks Gavin Newsom so much. He's like, he calls me new scum. Well,
It's
you know?
perfect. It's perfect. Ghetto
Oh
Crockett.
man, I know. Isn't that funny?
It's
I
funny.
love it.
It's
It
true. It's
is,
always funny if it's true.
right? Well, you know, the thing is that she claims that she's that way, but when you see her before she got to be this way and whatever, like when she's first out of law schools and things like that, she was so, eloquent in
Oh yeah.
the way she spoke and carried herself. And I'm sad to see them turn in. I mean, a lot of people don't even realize that AOC has 2 degrees. Did you know that, Bernie?
Oh yeah, yeah. She's not as ghetto as she complains herself to be, or she's not Jenny from the block. Put it that way. Now she went to
Right.
I think the place is called Westchester, and
Mhm.
yeah, she's full of crap.
That's right.
Absolutely full of crap.
I know. So they do
And she's
this on
got
purpose,
$30 million in the bank too. I wonder where that came from about $174,000 salary.
right? Oh, exactly. That's another thing too. I'd like to, there's a few things that, I mean, there's a lot of things, but there's some that I really disagree with Congress, like them voting on their own pay raises or them voting on the fact that it's against the law for us to have insider trading, but for them, during Nancy's reign, she helped pass that the Congress can basically do stock trading and so forth like that, basically insider trading, and it's legal. But for us, or Martha Stewart, right off to jail.
Yeah.
But especially like your own pay raises and stuff like that, I think that should be up to the people. Like, hey, what have you done for me lately? No,
Getting
you're
into
not getting a
Congress
pay
is a
raise.
license to steal. It's a
Right,
shame, but it is a license to steal. And um, these lobbyists, that's another issue. I mean, APAC, American Israeli Political Action Committee, they gave the congresswoman in my area $5 million before the primary. That's a
right,
lot of money. They bought themselves. Oh, and they gave her a lot more, but basically they're buying politicians. And so whatever it is they're buying them for, regular people just don't have a chance.
right. It is crazy. I just
Take
chatting
your
here,
time.
right? Patreon Linus, I don't know if you're saying wow about that or about AOC. That might have been because a lot of people don't know. They just think she was a bartender. I mean, that's how she was helping putting herself through school. But
That's
no,
the
she had
story she tells.
right,
The real story is she was off in college and she went to Africa for some reason and she met up with some globalists and they chose her. She's got the right profile and the right look. And next thing you know, they're running her for Congress. And that's how that
right.
all went down. She was chosen just like Obama was, just like the rest of these characters are. They were chosen from a long time ago. And it's just a narrative that's being put out there. And unfortunately, a lot of people fell for it. Now they're having regrets.
That's right. And and then once they get in, you absolutely, I'm sure, like the Nancy Pelosi's or whatever, hey, let's train her up right. Let's get her, going real good, and she'll be the next to take over. I mean, Nancy Pelosi, you guys know that she's retiring this year. She's not running again. Finally,
I hope not.
I saw that in the same kind of thing. I mean, we can look that up right now. But I
Well,
was like,
she says that, but she's a liar.
right.
That woman's gonna die in office.
gosh, I hope that's true. Because I heard that somebody was running to take over her thing. Okay, she's not I know she's not retired yet, but is she going to? It's an AI tells me that. I don't want AI. She says she will not run for re-election in 2026 despite her age and stepping away from leadership. Pelosi filed. I go. So she says, I don't know, but that's what AI says. It says she will not run for re-election in 2026. Oh my God! Everybody pray that that's true. I mean, I don't know if I trust
She
that,
won't
but
run for re-election until it's time to get re-elected.
yeah, exactly. And she's like, oh my gosh, they still need me, right? And we just saw her speak at the very beginning of the show, right? So it doesn't look like she's going anywhere. She's got to continue to hold the reins.
California
Man,
needs her like they need a hole in the head.
right. She looks dead already. Oh, that's so sad that you have the same name. I love you, girl, though. But she does. She looks dead already. I mean, good gosh. My father's 90. There's no way I would want, retire, enjoy your life, whatever, I wouldn't want him. I love my dad with all my heart, but no, I don't think I want, and he would do a million times better than her. But at that point,
she looks dead. She looks dead drunk.
Yes.
Probably got a flask of whiskey in that little purse she carries.
Right? I think they have an age that you have to be to run for Congress, to run for president. I think there should also be a cutoff, age. Just like I think there should be term limits, but again, that's another thing. Why do the people not get to vote on the term limits? Why does Congress the ones that get to make that choice? It should not be up to them because they'll never vote for that.
We got to raise the ruckus, and this is the time to raise the ruckus. We got our guy in office. I say get involved with your local, Republican or better yet, political organization. You might not be a Republican. You might be a Democrat or an independent. Personally, I'm part of the Howard County Central Committee, and I'm over here raising the ruckus as much as I can. If anybody sees me on the internet, you'll probably see, yeah, Berney ain't just going to lay down and take this. Oh, heck no. Oh, no.
So let's say that you're running for Congress. And so how do you fight the demon machine? How do you get over the fact, because what I see too is like, I saw that when I worked, Kim, and when I was working with her, they just buried her, even her side. They didn't even want to mention that two women were even running, in the primary, and they just ran over her. And then of course, with Tim Kaine being the opponent, he just buried them,
all that Hillary Clinton money.
Right. So how do you fight that when you've got that big, huge mountain?
Well, I probably have. Wait a minute. Who said I was running for Congress?
I said, let's say. I didn't say you are. I said, let's say you were. Because there's a reason.
Theoretically, let's just say if I was thinking about doing such a thing. Well, the first thing, you got to pray about this. Make sure you're on the right side, because there are a lot of people that do this for ego. And, I'm just I got my issues too, but if I were to do something that, time consuming, this isn't about ego. I've lived 2/3 of my life already. And now I'm trying to make things right for my kids and my grandkids and your grandkids. But first of all, you start with prayer and make sure that you're on the right side of this thing. And then you want to get as much publicity as you can. I'll tell you, I've been through a lot. I've been through boot camp and wars and all this sort of thing. The hardest thing I've ever done is running for Congress. It took a lot out of me because it is just a constant grind, and you're not getting if you're doing it the way I did it, you're not sleeping, you're not eating right, you're all constantly on the road, and it's going to wear you down. And it gotten to the point where some people close to me, to include my wife, says, hey, you're not looking good, and I wasn't. But the issue of the day is we have to carry the sword, and we have to be ready to defend ourselves. And people like me and you, we have the power of our words, and we have these platforms like what you have here. And the best thing we can do is bring people along with us and just try to be honest. And if we do the right thing, somebody else will notice.
That's right. And I know that you did run before. But I'm also, the reason I asked you that question too is because I'm hoping to inspire some of us because it seems like it's really hard when you're going up, like I said, the pits of hell and all that money and all that, demon evil, whatever, and the forces that try to stop you. How do you overpower that? Because there's a lot of bad on both sides. I mean, there are some serious people in the Republican side that need to go too. You guys
Yeah.
can probably name them in the chat. But
Yeah.
how do you fight against the machine? And that's so I'm hoping that some of you out there, whoever watching, maybe you will get inspired. Maybe it starts with little things like running for town office.
Yeah.
That has a lot more power in, than you might even think it does.
Yeah. And the thing is, we just got to get engaged. And, even if you get involved and you don't run for office, I mean, there's a central committee in your area that probably needs your help. Just like I was saying about the other day, I'm out here with the Anne Arundel County Central Committee. I don't live in Anne Arundel County. Put on your armor of God. You are correct, sir, or ma'am, or whoever wrote that. But the issue of the day is I got friends in the next county, to the east of me, to the west of me, to the north of me. I go out and help them if I got a chance. Now, mind you, I'm retired, so I got a little bit more free time. But rather than sitting around here watching paint dry, I'm going to get out here and fight the fight and do what I believe in. Because if we don't, there's going to be another Charlie Kirk. And we can't have that.
No, it's a great time with big momentum to go out there and make a ruckus in a good way. Stand for the change, and do what you can, whether it's on social media, guys, because I can't champion you enough for just saying no more to the crazy, right? I mean, it could be that simple. Like, no, we're not taking this. And that one of the things I said last week is all you got to say is, no, I'm not taking this. Bring back morals and the love for one another. And that is simple. It can really be that simple, where you're not necessarily calling anybody out evil or whatever per se, but you can just quote something and just say, hey, no more. I'm bringing back morals and love for one another.
Amen to that.
I don't know how to right. That's easy. Comment. We showed you something about last week too, like President Trump or something, or no, it was RFK Jr. was talking about something, and it had 50,000 plus whatever views, but it had 500 comments. I'm like, comment, talk to him, give him cheerleading, do something, tell him, whoever his people are gonna, hopefully be reading some of these stuff. But we have power in our voices, everybody.
We sure do.
Whether you're on social media doing that, or you're in your local towns doing that, you're in your local communities doing that, you're in your states doing that. But we need to fight to bring good back instead of letting this evil continue to exist.
It's funny. I tell people all the time, a lot of people read the Bible and they only read the New Testament, but there's an Old Testament as well. And those Old Testament patriarchs and matriarchs, they were warriors. They were chopping off heads for their God. Now, I wouldn't recommend you go out and do that, but the purpose of the Old Testament is to inspire you and make you understand right from wrong. And so then you switch over to the New Testament and you can have all that love and understanding. But, sometimes it has to be, you have to put a little Old Testament into the mix just to make sure everybody stays honest.
Well, even in the New Testament, I mean, Jesus went to the temple and he was with a whip. He was like, not in my Father's house. Are you kidding me? I mean, he was furious.
And guess what? It was once again the money changers that were causing the problems. It's always the money changers. So, I don't know. I want to get off philosophical on you because I will, but just let me say this. Remember, the people who killed Jesus did so because he was upsetting their apple cart. He was upsetting their power structure. Okay. The only time he ever got mad is because people were selling, as you said, they were making money in the temple where it wasn't supposed to be. So the issue today is just keep that in mind. And who benefits from all this chaos? Who benefits from Hollywood promoting all this filth? I mean, you turn on, sometimes people get in the car with me and I don't listen to a lot of rap and R&B. Most of the music that I listen to is instrumental. And why are you listening to that? Well, our music has become misogynist and angry and misandrous, and it's telling all they're talking about is pimps and hoes and robbing and stealing and all that. People don't live like that. But if some young 12-year-old kid is listening to some crazy rap song, which is a fantasy,
That's right.
he might just actually go out and do that. That's how you propagandize people.
It's the same thing with video games. I mean, it's they play all this war and stuff like that, and they're shooting all these people. They don't even have a real reality that in real life, if you shoot somebody, oh, this is not just like a game because it's so embedded. But the same thing with music, it's so embedded. I mean, it's a form of indoctrination and programming, guys. And you think that that's normal. Hey, they sing about it all the time, right? Disrespecting the women out there, thugging out there, shooting out there, whatever they're doing. We got to introduce you to our great friend. He's a moderator on the show too, but we always finish our show with his music. He's got 23 albums of jazz that you can listen to on Spotify and YouTube. His name is Tony Marino. I'll send you the link later. But I always end my show with his music because I'm like, we just need to listen to great stuff, because I'm with you. I'm so tired. My two favorite bands, are Tony Marino and Aromim, so it goes to show you where I'm at with that as well. So I agree, and stop putting that filth into our heads, and definitely, especially our children, we need to show them what reality is, and they're not seeing it. And then think about this, guys. At school, last thing about education, think about this. And I know that a lot of us don't have a choice. This is why I'm giving you all the information I can for you guys to have in your arsenals, so you can go check your own school, right? But they spend 8 to 10 hours in that school Monday through Friday. And I know we're in an economy where both parents have to work. I get that. But you're going to have to be the ones that are, communicating with them more, asking the teachers. The teacher doesn't want to give you their curriculum, then you need to keep fighting for that. You need to find out, what are you learning? What are you not learning? And then, hey, spend that time reading with your kids, making sure that they do have some kind of literacy. I used to do that around the dinner table. I would read with my children. I'm like, guess what? If they're not going to teach you, I will.
There you go.
So, but we have to be in charge of that, guys. Parents, I'm sorry that it's going to be rough, but our kids are worth it. Our lives are worth it. Our families are worth it. So, I was going to ask you something. I always say that, you always need to leave with some inspiration before I let you go. We love having you here. You can come back, like I said, as much as you want. I do have some guests coming up the next few weeks, but I look forward to having you back. But is there anything else you want to? Oh, speaking of kids, let's show this before I say goodbye to you and you say your last words, because this is a good one. Speaking of Charlie Kirk, I really love this, guys. I want to live in a country where, here we go.
I want to live in a country where if a woman does not want to go to work having to have a kid, she does not have to go to work and she could stay at home and raise those kids. We should all seek to build that country. It's good for men. It's good for women. It's good for kids, good for family, good for community. It's not knocking people that use daycare at all. If you have to use daycare, God bless you. I know it's tough, but honestly, too many people have to. In 1980s, a father working was able to support an entire family. Now things are so expensive. Homes are out of reach. Inflation has crushed us. Both the man and the woman have to go into the workforce. That is bad. It is bad for everybody. It creates strangers raising our kids. It creates women that have to go into the workforce that are unhappy in their job because they'd rather have their 6-month-old baby in their arms. And honestly, it's much more important for you to raise your 6-month-old baby than crunching numbers on a spreadsheet for some company that doesn't even know your name.
Amen to that.
Sure. No true words have been spoken.
I thought that's probably one of my favorite clips from him, and he's right about so many things, and that's something else that we can all fight for. We want an economy that we can actually have. It's so vital to have a mom there, or and have that family kind of thing. But we're in a situation where that reality just doesn't seem to be, what we're seeing right now, and we need to continue to fight for having that back. Sorry, everybody is shouting out goodbyes. I'm getting to you guys. Hold on one second. I haven't even said goodbye to him yet. He hasn't even talked about his whatever he wants to talk about. Here they come.
Hey,
we love you.
Well, I love you guys too. But hey, there's one other thing I would ask. You remember that other video I gave you about that other one? That one doesn't curse, but it says some profound things. Can you run that one?
Yeah.
And I will cede my time.
Okay.
I want people to hear that.
Yes, it is. All right. I just found it. Give me 1 second. Do a little switch here. I liked it too. I really like this one. I'm glad that you reminded me. Okay, here we go, guys.
Is this the guy you're calling a racist?
One thing that white people and black people have different biologically.
Don't change the question of this. Like DNA-wise, we are different.
No, we're not. That's a lie. It has been disproven. Front page of National Geographic 6 months ago. Racism created by society. Race is a social construct that I want to break out of.
Hold up. He doesn't even believe in race. The Oxford English Dictionary defines racism as prejudice based on race, or the belief that some races are inherently superior. But if Charlie's a racist, why is he arguing race doesn't exist? If he's a white supremacist, doesn't he need race to be real? I mean, you can't be a racial supremacist while arguing racial categories are fake. And wait a sec, race has been used to justify oppressing black people for centuries. So why is the black kid defending racial categories while the white supremacist wants to destroy them? This isn't new for Charlie. He's been saying this for years. And guess what? He's right. Here's the history of race. People always noticed skin color, but it mattered about as much as hair color. Slavery existed everywhere, and it was practiced by every skin color long before race was invented. Then, European colonizers needed justification for enslaving Africans. So, in the 1600s and 1700s, they invented racial hierarchy. The most influential framework came from Johann Blumenbach, a German doctor. He created the racial categories we still use today. Then, Georges Cuvier took Blumenbach's categories and ranked them, with white on top and black on the bottom. And racists ran with it. But here's the twist. Blumenbach never intended to create racial hierarchy. He was just trying to organize observable human characteristics, kind of like classifying plants. He believed we all have identical intellectual potential. He said differences came from environment and education, not biology, and those differences could evaporate over time. He was a devout Christian who believed we were all made equal. Sound familiar? Charlie Kirk consistently argued against racial categories and got called a racist. Yes, Charlie talked about race sometimes. He knew it was made up, but we live in a racialized culture. To change a culture, you must speak its language, especially when that culture keeps race alive through affirmative action and DEI. But most people never heard him in a long-form interview.
Again, I hate this racialization stuff, but it's true. Too. They force the racialization card. For the record, of course, I don't look at people in terms of skin color, but when they start categorizing me and the young men that show up to my events as toxic because they breathe, you force the race card.
I used to think Charlie was just confrontational with college kids for clicks. Then I listened to his full interviews. I realized he was fighting for hearts and minds in the battleground of ideas, and he was winning. That's why he was killed. And the tragic irony, Charlie believed in race less than many of the people calling him racist. We think we know someone from 60-second clips. We mix news with entertainment and call ourselves informed. We judge strangers from echo chambers. And that's part of the tragedy. Not just that we lost Charlie, that people can't tell the difference between hate speech and speech they hate. Fascist, racist. These words have been so overused, they've lost meaning, and it's causing a breakdown in society. I have a video essay coming out on this soon. Subscribe to my Substack so you don't miss it. Link below.
That is so true. You're welcome, but that is so true. I mean, I that's something, you know, even in my art history classes, I try to talk to them about, you know, the very beginnings and how this has changed, and then the enlightening periods too. I mean, right, this was a major ordeal, but you're right. I mean, and I love how he ended it. They don't even understand the difference between hate speech and the speech they hate. That was beautifully said. What a great thing to finish on, but I'm going to let you have your words.
I have said my word. That young man said everything I wanted to say. Charlie Kirk is one of the best of us, and I hate to see him going home, but I guess we'll all meet up one day. But right now, we got work to do.
That's right. That's right. Yes, we do. I mean, unfortunately, yes, he was amazing, but I guess the best way to honor him is continue with that great work. And especially one of the things I love, like I said about him, is his dedication to the youth. Because I'm telling you, these schools out there, guys, no matter which one it is, they are not on your side. And we're seeing that because we thought, oh, okay, you know, and I'm not trying to bash Trump, but it's way more than the sports, guys. This whole DEI and whatever, way more than just the sports. It is so embedded into this curriculum and into our schools, and the way the teachers feel. And, you know, like that one teacher that was showing this to the 10-year-olds, you guys have got to do your part. And that's what I loved about Charlie Kirk, is his mission to educate our youth, have those conversations, make them have critical thinking. We all need to get some critical thinking, you know, and use them as an example, and, you know, just continue to do the great work that he does.
All right.
All right. So we've got a few more of these. I thank you guys, everybody, for loving on my wonderful guest, don't we? We all love Berney. We all love Berney, and I thank you guys so much.
Okay too.
Yes, yes, I love it. So, all right, we will see you again. You guys have promised he'll be back. You know, give us a few weeks, and we will be more than happy to organize the time for him to come back and join us. You guys don't forget to share this out, because it's so important not to just bring viewers to my show. I love to share what my guests are here to say, and their opinions and what their words are very much matter to me. So thank you guys very much. Get those algorithms to find out who we are, right? Like, follow, and share. We love you, Berney, and I look forward to you coming back soon.
All right. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and head out. You guys take care. Much love. And I can't wait till we do this again.
Yes. Have a great night, my friend. See you soon.
See ya.